Prabhupada, at least I desire so. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9 and Text 38. Yat Chakartha Anga Mastotram Yaschakarthadhamastotram Matkatha Abhyudaya Ankitam Matkatha Abhyudaya Ankitam Yat Va Tapasi Te Nishta Yadva Tapasi Te Nishta Saha Esha Madanugraha Sa Esha Madanugraha Yacchakarthangam Matkathabhyudayankitam Yadva tapasite nishtha Sayesha Madanugraha. By that which Chakartha perform Anga, O Brahmā, Mat Stotram, prayers for me, Mat Katha, words regarding my activities, Abhyudaya Ankitam, enumerating my transcendental glories, Yat, or that, Va, either, Tapasi, in penance, Te, Yuva, Nishtha, faith, Saha, that, Eshaha, all these, Mat, my, Anugrahaha, causeless mercy. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: O Brahma, the prayers that you have chanted, praising the glories of my transcendental activities, the penances you have undertaken to understand me, and your firm faith in me, all these are to be considered my causeless mercy. Please repeat: O Brahma, the prayers that you have chanted, praising the glories of my transcendental activities, the penances you have undertaken to understand me, and your firm faith in me, all these are to be considered my causeless mercy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When a living entity desires to serve the Lord in transcendental loving service, the Lord helps the devotee in so many ways as the Chaitya Guru or the spiritual master within, and thus the devotee can perform many wonderful activities beyond material estimation. By the mercy of the Lord, even a layman can compose prayers of the highest spiritual perfection. Such spiritual perfection is not limited by material qualifications. But is developed by dint of one's sincere endeavour to render transcendental service. Voluntary endeavour is the only qualification for spiritual perfection. Material acquisitions of wealth or education are not considered. Dasanstha Bhaktivedanta Parpoto Madhyanatimiran Dasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the Supreme Lord is addressing Lord Brahma. After Brahma offered his prayers for creative energy with which he can do his services. So here you can see the Lord has recognized everything that Brahma did. Chakartha Anga means O Brahma, Mastotram, the prayers that you have chanted, praising the glories of Krishna, Stotra, glories of the Lord. Mat Katha, and then Krishna's transcendental activities. Abhyudaya Ankitam, you have enumerated my activities. Yadava Tapasi, you have also underwent a lot of tapas to understand me, understand Krishna, understand God. Yadva Tapasi te Nishtha, and then you have a very strong, firm faith in me. So Krishna is watching, all these things is observing. So Brahma is offered prayers enumerating Krishna's glories and his activities. He underwent a lot of tapas to understand Krishna. And then Nishtha, you have a firm faith in Krishna. Then in the last line, Lord is saying, Saesha Madanugraha, all these are by my mercy. You have developed all these three, you are able to offer prayers, and then you are able to enumerate my transcendental activities. Tapasi, you are able to do tapas, and then Nishtha, you have a firm faith in me. And Krishna says, all these are to be considered my causeless mercy, Mad Anugraha. So even if a devotee is able to perform wonderful activities, able to do a lot of tapas, and is fixed up in his sadhana and then his services, everything has to be considered as Madanugraha, causeless mercy of Krishna. Otherwise, how will Brahma, the first living entity of the universe, how he knows what are the glories of Krishna or what are the glories of the Lord? How you can offer prayers? Offering prayers means composing, wonderful Sanskrit verses and enumerating, here it is mentioned, Abhyudaya Ankitam, enumerating Krishna's transcendental activities. Actually, if somebody has to write a poetry or compose something in Sanskrit, it is not easy, at least for the current generation. Just to learn Sanskrit, it takes years. And with a proper grammar, it takes minimum 12 years. Brahma is the first living entity. And then, how did he able to enumerate Krishna's pastimes and offer all those wonderful prayers? In fact, his prayers to Krishna, Brahma Samhita, has become a basis, one of the very important basis for our movement. Lord Chaitanya, he retrieves Brahma Samhita's 5th chapter from one temple in South India while he was touring. He is able to get hold of the original, the scripture. Those days it's all in the Talapatra and then all those things. Mahaprabhu knows, so he went there and then he retrieved it, and that's one of the very important basis for our movement. So it's a great great prayers by Brahma. So Lord is also accepting Mat Stotram, Mat Katha, and then Tapasi. Brahma has done tapas for 1,000 years of his time. And then he did and then at the end of it, he is able to see the Lord. That's the kind of tapas he has done. And then Nishtha, he is very fixed up in his faith on Krishna. Okay, so although a devotee may achieve all this, he should know that it is all because of Madanugraha, Krishna's mercy. For example, we in Krishna consciousness movement, we take a lot of tapas. We are supposed to follow the 4 regulative principles and chant 16 rounds. Actually, that 16 rounds should be without any offense. And then chant and hear each and every word. And it is also a tapas. But this tapas is divyam, tapo divyam, putraka. So this is transcendental tapas. And what will you achieve by this? You will understand Krishna. This tapas, if we do nicely, we understand Krishna. And then after understanding, we also develop our nishtha, complete faith on Him. So here, how a devotee gets all this? Mastotram, matkatha, tapasi, nishtha, all these things. How can he achieve all these things? So Prabhupada is explaining this, the essence of that in the first line itself. He says, when a living entity desires to serve the Lord in transcendental loving service, the Lord helps the devotee in so many ways. that a devotee can perform many wonderful activities beyond material estimation. So the secret is revealed here. Prabhupada is saying, if you want to progress in spiritual life and perform many wonderful activities in spiritual life, Jai Radha Govinda, then what is required is, the living entity should develop a desire. Desire for what? To serve the Lord. I want to render some service. Any service that is rendered to the Lord is called devotional service. It has to be done with devotion. Devotional service. And what is this service? That is, Prahlad Maharaj, he has enumerated 9 kinds of services. He has listed 9 kinds of services to Krishna. So if somebody just begins chanting and hearing, that is a service. And what kind of a service? Here it is my desire to serve the Lord in transcendental loving service. So any service that is rendered to Krishna is transcendental. So when you are chanting and hearing and thinking of Krishna, worshipping the deity, decorating the deity, these are all looking like activities, but they are not belonging to this world. They are transcendental. Apparently we are able to do all these activities, but these activities are imported from spiritual world. They are imported into this Vaikuntha. This temple is a Vaikuntha, and all those activities are practiced here. So, all the services that we do are transcendental, but their services have to be done lovingly. Lovingly means without grudge, without mumbling or grumbling. Blah, 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 blah. Why this, why that? Why so much, why so much? Yeah. Without any such things, out of love. So that's why it is called transcendental loving service. So if a devotee develops such a desire, then Krishna will help him in so many ways that he will produce wonderful activities beyond material estimation. We will not be able to estimate. So personal example is Prabhupada himself. Now material estimation means what? Actually in this world people estimate each other. As soon as you go to somebody, to his house or whatever, the first thing that he will do is start estimating what kind of a person. Let us say in ordinary world, they are suit boot professionals. When they meet each other, the first thing that they do is start estimating, okay, what is this? What is his level? What kind of a person? And that's why they have a system of exchanging cards. He will exchange and he'll say, okay, his manager, okay, his general manager, okay, the vice president, oh, the president, oh, like that. They estimate like that. So one is with respect to power, and one more is with respect to wealth, money, they estimate. But then how will they see the money in the banks? Not possible. That's why what they do is, what kind of a car is coming? These are all estimating parameters. If he comes in a big, like a big boat, big car, shining, and wow, it's a big man. And if somebody comes, Alto 800 or whatever, say, oh, he's like this. See how people estimate. But sometimes very powerful people, they go in small cars. to get a lot of attention. Big man should go in big car, but if he goes in small car, he will get a lot of attention. That is also one more way of attracting people's attention. Like one of the chief ministers recently, he traveled in Alto 800 car to his office. Oh, everybody, wow. And if a big billionaire wears an ordinary sari, or sits in a in a simple way, these are all news. They make news. Why? Because according to estimation, it doesn't fit into their understanding. Billionaire, you are saying, and then he is traveling in Alto, so it doesn't fit into their estimation. So the world estimates people. It's important because they need to understand how to behave. If he is a powerful man than me, then better carefully you behave so that he is not upset. So this is called material estimation. So Prabhupada is saying, when it comes to a devotee, all these estimations, they will go wrong. When our devotees go out for preaching, and then they go and go to a house, a shop. Of course, nowadays most of them, they know that ISKCON devotees do come to our houses. But otherwise, as soon as you enter their house, always that question is there: why did he come? Who is he? What is he wanting? Then we give the card. And our card just says, so-and-so Dasa from Golden Temple. He is not able to estimate, what is this person? Why did he come here? And then he will be explaining, album he takes, and go on explaining, we are from this temple, this activity. He is always thinking, why he is telling all these things to me? In the end, you will come to know. So, we break all these material estimations. Devotees are inconceivable for the ordinary person. So sometimes they ask, what do you do, Swamiji, whole day? What do you do? Whole day bhakti, how it is possible? So like that, devotees, they perform many wonderful activities. So Prabhupada, actually materially, if you speak, if you estimate somebody, if you see Prabhupada materially, he's just a very small man, 5 feet. Generally, this is also one more estimation in the outside world. They have to see a big person, tall and well-built, then they'll respect. If he's a very lean man and then a small man, sometimes they will be saying, yeah, our big Swamiji is going to come. So they'll be thinking, big Swamiji means he'll be a very big person. And then you'll see one small lean man is coming. They can't understand. Like I remember I was in the airport, I was taking my luggage. And then one big Swamiji came from the air. And then he's really big. Mostly 6.5 feet height, and then huge body. And then he is wearing wooden slippers. And then he has huge beads and all golden kankanas. And then he has, very interestingly, he has a kamandalu. And then he has one part. And he also came to receive the luggage. Yes, his assistant basically was there. And then I can see the whole airport is looking at him. I was there much before, but nobody is looking at me. They are all looking at, so the big Swamiji has come. See, people go by these external symbols. Particularly in the fast-paced Kali Yuga, external symbols are the only way by which people will go. And this is not a surprise. Bhagavatam predicts in 12th canto the symptoms of Kali Yuga. It says that everybody will go by only external symbols. If somebody puts a thread, is a Brahmana. And if somebody strongly, loudly shouts into the mic and gives a class, oh, his philosophy must be very correct. See how confident he is shouting. If somebody is able to produce a loud voice, that's all. He is considered a big orator, and then his philosophy must be very good. So, like that, people just go by external symbols. And then it is also said that if he just takes a bath, he considers himself to be so elevated that he can address thousands and thousands of people in Kali Yuga. These are the symptoms. Okay, so materially if you see Prabhupada, yes, very a small built up, and the height is also not very high, very unassuming personality. Unassuming. And then you see morning walks, Prabhupada is walking among his tall disciples. They're very, very tall. But they're all, very humbly, they're all bent and hearing what Guru says. They don't want to miss even one word. So, of course, Prabhupada has revealed to this modern world something which they are not actually eligible. We are actually not eligible to what Prabhupada is revealing. And he gave the whole Vedic wisdom in such a lucid, understandable manner that any common man can understand. Not easy to present these complex concepts in Bhagavatam and many other wonderful literature. It's not easy. So Prabhupada is saying even a layman can compose prayers of the highest spiritual perfection. We have seen Bhakta Dhruva example. He is a small boy, but he composes wonderful prayers, which we also recite every morning. How? As soon as the Lord has touched his conchal on the head of Dhruva, conchal sound enlightens the soul. So immediately Dhruva offered wonderful prayers. And then materially speaking, although Prabhupada looks like that, but it is said that to print one edition of Bhagavad Gita as it is, they required, what is that it says? Yeah, one printing of Bhagavad Gita as it is required 76 train cars to ship the paper. 76 train bogies. You can imagine such a big train it must be. That much paper is required to print one printing, one edition, one print of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. Can you believe? What a wonderful, it's a miraculous activity. So that's why Prabhupada is saying, a devotee can perform many wonderful activities beyond material estimation. One whole train, goods train is carrying paper required to print one printing, Bhagavad Gita as it is. What a phenomenal it is. Prabhupada wanted that my Back to Godhead magazine should reach circulation of Illustrated Weekly or the Time magazine, and then you see in 1 month, I think they printed about 4 million copies. More than Illustrated Weekly and then the Time magazine. 4 million. 1 million though very easy. So these are all wonderful activities. So Prabhupada is saying such spiritual perfection is not limited by material qualifications. It is, my education or my capacity to earn money or my power. These are all material estimations. But spiritual perfection is not dependent on this. Then what is it dependent on? As Prabhupada is mentioning in the first line, desire to serve the Lord, that's all. I want to serve, that desire. Then you may say, Prabhu, I don't have the desire. I don't think I have the desire also. Then Prabhupada is saying here, even more simplifying, he is saying, one's sincere endeavour to render service. You may not even have desire, but you just endeavour to serve. You say, no, trying to serve. This is the word, endeavour. Simply, okay, chant Hare Krishna. So then Prabhupada is saying, voluntary endeavour is the only qualification for spiritual perfection. There's a massive line. Voluntary endeavour. Voluntarily a devotee wants to serve, offer service. That voluntary endeavour is the only qualification. That's all. For spiritual perfection. See, so nice. Sometimes devotees may say, don't even have that voluntary this thing also. That's why sometimes you see some devotees pressurize. Chant Hare Krishna. And then, of course, there is no pressure when you give prasadam. You take prasadam. That's also, you are giving something. So, this is the beauty of this process. Anybody just voluntarily wants to do some seva to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his life is successful. Lord ensures that he progresses in this path. He says, Madanugraha, by causeless mercy of Krishna, devotee continuously progresses, but only one condition, that voluntary service, voluntary endeavour, go on endeavouring. Obstacles will come, challenges will come, doubts will come, fears will come. Mind is like that, it creates innumerable, confusions in the mind. All these things will come, but if somebody just continues to go ahead and render voluntarily his services, so this devotional service to Krishna, transcendental devotional service to Krishna, this is the key essence of our movement. And that can be done simply by chanting his names, honoring prasad, dancing. See, so simple actually. The process is so simple. But one has to stick on to it. Should just go on doing it, day after day, day after day, day after day. Then he comes to mat nishta. Here he is saying, yadva tapasite nishta. Then he comes to nishta. Initially you need to, but then in the initial days, Krishna, he brings in very special mercy, that a devotee feels so happy, so satisfied. In the kirtans and this and that, he'll be jumping and dancing. That is very important. One has to participate actively in the sadhana program, particularly in dancing, chanting and dancing. That's all. Then comes the perfection. Krishna will give you intelligence. Prabhupada is referring to him as Chaitya Guru, and he will give intelligence, and from without, as Prabhupada, he gives intelligence. And whenever you get internal inspiration, first check up with Prabhupada, check up with your seniors, see whether that inspiration is okay, and then you go ahead and implement in your life. That brings the spiritual perfection. So we need Vaishnava's blessings, we need Guru's blessings, then Krishna will give you his Madanugraha, he will also bestow his mercy. Then austerity becomes easier, then praising Krishna, Krishna's glories, this all becomes easier. Devotee automatically does all these things Just that he has to decide, I want to serve. Voluntarily he wants to endeavour to serve Krishna. That's all. That brings all qualifications. Any questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా